Hello and welcome everybody to the weekly Shir Nyanagul Mashiach on the internet. Thanks to you and your participation and your excitement. This Shir has grown to be the largest Shir Nyanagul Mashiach in the English language in the world. It has grown beyond my expectations and I'm sure beyond everyone's expectations. But Baruch Hashem, together we are going towards the journey to Geula. We are coming from the day of Asar B'Tevis, which everyone knows it's a very sad day, the day that Hashem started the process of Churban by surrounding the wall of Yerushalayim. But as Chassidim and Yidden awaiting the Geula, instead of getting caught up in the sadness associated with Asar B'Tevis, we are getting excited about the rebuilding of the third Beis Hamikdash, may it be b'mheira v'yameinu. And this is the topic of this week's Shir, the great third Beis Hamikdash, which regarding the third Beis Hamikdash, the Navi Chagi says, Godol yikfoid habayis hazeh ha'achroin yoiser min harishoin, that the last Beis Hamikdash, the third Beis Hamikdash, will be greater than all the previous Batei Mikdashes, Bayis Rishon and Bayis Sheni, which its greatness will be seen physically and of course spiritually. In its physical in dimension and size, it will be greater than the two Batei Mikdashes, and it will last longer than the first two. The Beis Hamikdash Harishon lasted 410 years, Bayis Sheni lasted 420 years, Bayis Shlishi lasts forever. Obviously, that's a reflection of the Kedusha, which is going to be in the third Beis Hamikdash. A high level of Elikus is going to be revealed, and this is going to be expressed in the fact that Elikus will be shining throughout the world, to the extent that it says, Umala Aretz Deas Hashem, that the entire world will be filled with the light of Hashem. V'noro elav kol hagoyim, and all the goyim will come streaming forward to the third Beis Hamikdash to see in the glory of Hashem, because they recognize the emes of Hashem. But we're running ahead of ourselves a little bit. Let's go through some of the details of the third Beis Hamikdash and some of the midrashim associated with the third Beis Hamikdash and some of the things that will occur in the third Beis Hamikdash. First of all, the first obvious question: who will build the third Beis Hamikdash? Well, as children, we always were taught that every brick, every mitzvah that we do in this world is a brick in the third Beis Hamikdash, which is being built in Shamayim. It's not just a fantasy or words of encouragement to a child. Rashi says that the third Beis Hamikdash is being built and ready to come down min hashamayim. However, Rambam seems to say that it will be built by a human being, Melech HaMashiach. As a matter of fact, one of the signs of Mashiach that the Rambam brings down is that he will boina migdash bimkoimoi, he will build the Beis Hamikdash. So there seems to be a contradiction in the Rishonim, in the commentaries over who is going to build the third Beis Hamikdash. However, the Rebbe, who is Oisha Shalom Bimroima of the Isha Shalom Ha'amiti, gives us different perspectives how to reconcile these two opinions. He gives us 4 ways of reconciliation. The first thing the Rebbe points out is as follows: that the Rambam himself says that we human beings do not know fully how to build the third Beis Hamikdash. The Navi Yecheskel describes to us the building of the Beis Hamikdash, but very, very vague. We don't know. And that's why when Yidden built the second Beis Hamikdash, they could not do it exactly the way the Navi said, because they didn't know. So they did it sort of what they thought it would be, and based on the first Beis Hamikdash. So the Rebbe says as follows: one way of learning is that we will build what we know about the third Beis Hamikdash, and the rest will come in Hashamayim. Alternatively, you can say as follows: that we will build the Beis Hamikdash, and the spiritual Beis Hamikdash will come in Hashemayim and join the physical Beis Hamikdash, thereby making it everlasting, making it a bayis la Hashem from the Eibishter. Another way of learning is as follows: that if we merit, the Beis Hamikdash will come from heaven. However, if Mashiach comes in a way that's verschlept, we don't merit, we're not holding by this special miraculous way, so then we're going to have to build the third Beis Hamikdash. And the fourth way, and this is the way the Rebbe seems to say in a few places, is as follows: the Beis Hamikdash is going to come from Shemayim. Melech HaMashiach is going to put on the gates, the doors of the Beis Hamikdash. And in halacha it's brought down that whoever puts on that gate, whoever makes that door, the final closure of the building, it's like kilu banai kula, as if he built the entire thing. And that's how we can understand the two opinions coming together. That it will come in Hashemayim, but Mashiach will put on the doors. Regarding the doors of the Beis Hamikdash, Pasuk says, Tavu Shoreh, that the Beis Hamikdash, the doors of the Beis Hamikdash sunk into the ground. Mashiach will bring out those doors and connect it to the Beis Hamikdash. Either way, the Beis Hamikdash itself is going to be very, very large. In addition to its physical size, the Chazal, the Gemara Megillah says, Asidin Kol Bate Knesiyos, all the shuls of Galos are going to go to Yerushalayim when Mashiach comes. And the Maharsha explains in the Gemara Megillah that they're all going to be attached to the third Beis Hamikdash. In other words, all the shuls and all the dirt of the shuls, the broken down shuls, anything that was used for Kedusha is going to be brought to Eretz Yisrael and attached to the third Beis Hamikdash. The Rebbe points out in his famous Sicha, Kuntas Beis Rabbeinu Shebebavel, that in what order will they be attached? Well, it depends on the holiness of the shul, how many people used it. So he says the first shul connected directly to the Beis Hamikdash itself will be the Beis Rabbeinu Shebebavel, which in our case we know the Rebbe said on 770, which is Gematria Beis Mashiach. That is the house of the Sidoreinu. That is the home which will be directly connected to the third Beis Hamikdash. To the extent, says the Rebbe, that before the Beis Hamikdash goes to Yerushalayim to be connected to the land on Har Bayis, it's going to come first to the Beis Rabbeinu Shebebavel, get connected with the Beis Rabbeinu Shebebavel, and only then go forward to Yerushalayim Yer HaKodesh. So either way, there's going to be a large shul, the Beis Hamikdash itself, surrounded by all the other shuls. Which leads us to the next thing, which is the amount of times it's going to be visited. During the time of Galos, we know it says, Shalish Pamim Bashana Yeira Kol Schurcha. 3 times a year we have to go visit the Beis Hamikdash. On Pesach, on Shavuos, and Sukkot. However, in the times of Mashiach, the Navi says, V'hoyim midei chodesh b'chodshoi, midei Shabbos b'Shabbatoi. It will be on every single Rosh Chodesh and every single Shabbos. Yovei kol basar lishtachves l'Hashem b'Yerushalayim. The Yidden are all going to come to the Eibishter and bow down in Yerushalayim Yer HaKodesh. In other words, the Aliyah L'Regel is going to be every single Shabbos and every single Rosh Chodesh. This is brought down in the Novi Yeshaya, Perek Samach Vav, Posek Chav Gimel. The Medrash asked the obvious question: how is it possible that all the Yidden are going to constantly be coming to every Shabbos, every Rosh Chodesh? How is that possible? And the Navi tells us that we're going to have special clouds, special delivery on special clouds that are going to transport Yidden from their homes to the Beis Hamikdash on Shabbos and Rosh Chodesh. Now, for those of you that are bothered by the question, well, doesn't it say that Torah does not change even when Mashiach comes? If Torah says 3 times a year, how could all of a sudden that change to every week and every Rosh Chodesh? So this is already explained in the Shalos HaTshuvos Dvar Yeshua. And he gives multiple answers, various answers. One of the answers he gives, very interesting, is that really there's a concept of Alila Regel every Shabbos, even in the time of Golus. But Hashem saw that it's not feasible. So he said you have the Chiyuv every 3 times a year, every Yom Tiv. But technically, if you want it to come every Shabbos, it's very special too. When Mashiach comes, and we're going to have the ability, so then we will go visit the Beis Hamikdash every Shabbos and every Rosh Chodesh. Now you have to realize that when you visit the Beis Hamikdash, it's not a visit to a museum. It's a tremendous connection with Hashem, and that has a tremendous impact on Yidden. We know what we say in the Musaf davening of Rosh Chodesh, that unfortunately, Charev Beis Hamikdash, the Beis Hamikdash is destroyed. Vein anu yecholim la'aleis u'lishtachveis la'Hashem. We cannot go and bow down to the Eibishter. And Chassidus tells us that it's a very interesting word we use, bow down. Why in the Beis Hamikdash do we actually bow down? There's the concept of koirim, bending, u'mishtachvim means completely laying yourself out in front of Hashem. And we're telling Hashem that in the time of Golus, we cannot bow down to Him. Why not? What does that mean? There's a spiritual message over here. In the time of Golus, as much as we want to serve the Eibishter, there's a little part of us which is always going to remain. There's that Golus Yid, there's the Nefesh HaBahamis, which doesn't want to give itself up completely. So we can only kneel to Hashem. Prostrating yourself, bowing down completely means that I have no existence of my own. I am completely given over to Hashem. That we need a special koyach elyon. We need a special koyach l'mayla that enables us to give ourselves up completely. Like the Gemara says, "Ein chovesh mater es atzmai." Someone that's in jail can't free himself. He needs help from outside. To get out of ourselves completely, we need a koyach elyon, and that koyach elyon comes from the Beis Hamikdash, from the Likus, which is going to be revealed in the 3rd Beis Hamikdash, that will enable us to lishtachvos l'Hashem, to be completely bottled to the Ribono Shel Olam. In addition to that, which is the avodah pnimius of the Beis Hamikdash, there's going to be another spiritual effect on Yidden. In the times of Mashiach, all Yidden are going to reach the spiritual level of a Navi. The Navi tells us, the Navi Yoel, Per Gimel, Pasuk Beis, that in the time of Mashiach, Eshbech Ruchi, I'm going to pour and spread my Ruach on all the Yidden, V'nibu b'neichem u'b'nei seichem, and all your sons and daughters will become Nevi'im. In other words, to be a Navi, the Rambam tells us you have to attain spiritual levels of greatness. When Mashiach comes, every single Yid will have attained that level. We're going to be able to be a Navi. Which is very interesting, what Mefarshim explain. Why is it that when Mashiach comes, all Yidden are going to be Nevi'im? So obviously the answer is we're going to be elevated on a higher level. But some Mefarshim explain that this indirectly comes from the words of Moshe. If you open up your Chumash, Parshas Baloischa, Perek Yud Aleph, Pasuk Chaf Hei, the Torah tells us about Moshe Rabbeinu appointing the 70 Skenim. They're going to become Nevi'im, the leaders of the Bnei Yisrael. And he asked that all the Shvatim, the 12 Shvatim, they give in people to join. The problem is, if you have 12 Shvatim, and you have 6 people per Shevet that's being appointed, at 72. You only needed 70. So the Torah tells us that 70 were appointed, and Eldad and Medad, those 2 were left on the outside. And the Torah tells us that they got Nevuah anyways, and they started saying Nevuah that Moshe Rabbeinu was going to pass away, and everyone got upset, and they wanted to punish Eldad and Medad. And Moshe Rabbeinu uses a funny lashon. He says, what are you all worried? He says, if only all the Yidden will be Nevi'im, and the Eibishter would spread his spirit amongst them. Now, as Moshe Rabbeinu was saying, Halavai, all Yidden are Nevi'im. Now, every word of Moshe Rabbeinu, even when it's said in a way of Halavai, Divrei Moshe are Nitzchim. They're going to happen. So Chazal asked, if Moshe Rabbeinu even said that maybe all Yidden should be Nevi'im, when will that happen? That's going to happen when Mashiach comes. And that's chus of Moshe Rabbeinu. So we're all going to attain high levels of Nevuah when Mashiach comes. Now you have to know this about the third Beis Hamikdash. The third Beis Hamikdash is going to be very, very high tech. Don't think for a second that technology is going to fall behind. We're going to go back to the Middle Ages and the Dark Ages. It's very obvious from the Mefarshim that the Beis Hamikdash is going to use all the tools made to us to serve its purpose. Like the Gemara says, Lama Nivra Zahav. Why was gold created? Like Nivra Zahav Ela B'Shvil Beis Hamikdash. The gold was created for the Beis Hamikdash. Once it's created for the Beis Hamikdash, it allowed itself to be sheared to the whole world. Technology was created for the Beis Hamikdash. And that's how the Rebbe addresses a very interesting question that's brought up in the Achronim regarding Kiddush HaChodesh when Mashiach comes. For the Yidden living in far places, will there be 1 day, 2 days, because you have the whole suffix, till it takes time to get there. And the Rebbe says that anyone that knows what's going on in technology today knows that won't be a problem. The second Beis Din says Mekudesh, the entire world can know that there was Rosh Chodesh. Today with technology, all you have to do is put it up online, or I don't know, any other social network you use. Tuesday, Rosh Chodesh, in a second, hundreds and thousands of millions of people will know that Tuesday is Rosh Chodesh. So all these questions of will the Shluchim of Beis Din get there in time, not get there in time, is really doesn't really come into play when Mashiach comes. But the main thing, says the Rebbe, if you want to be Zoichet to the third Beis Hamikdash, is by learning the Hilchas Beis Hamikdash, the laws of the Beis Hamikdash and the measurements of the Beis Hamikdash, and Shiurim about the Beis Hamikdash. And therefore I encourage you, you obviously have watched the Shir till the end, to share this Shir, play on words, but share this Shir with your family, friends, relatives, and anyone that you know will be interested in knowing what's about to happen. We don't believe that Beis Hamikdash is years away. We believe it's imminent, and therefore they should know and be prepared and be happy with its arrival. So thank you for joining me tonight. Looking forward to seeing you, your friends, family, your local shul attached to the Beis Hamikdash HaShlishi, B'mheira v'yameinu mamish.